Ladies and gentlemen, the Durham probe is going to benefit greatly from President Trump's lawsuit. Specifically, the three indictments of Clinesmith, Danchenko, and Sussman are going to be impacted or positively influenced by the lawsuit that Trump filed the other day against, over 40 people, including businesses, that also include the three indicted individuals within the Durham probe. The Durham probe individuals who've been indicted by the United States government, by the DOJ, the special counsel. John Durham is a special counsel. He's already indicted Clinesmith, Danchenko, and Sussman. All three indictments are directly related to Clinton, Democrats, their campaign, funding attorneys, tech firms, tech executives, researchers to obtain information on Trump and give that information to government, to loyalists within government or government officials. Now the Washington Post, for example, is finally admitting, okay, that happened, but it was at least warranted a healthy look. No. Indicting people like George Papadopoulos or Michael Flynn, trying to ruin their lives, setting them up and framing them, it's not a healthy look. That is the United States government utilizing its resources, its bureaucracy, its power against an incoming candidate, knowing that it couldn't. What happened was they had nothing on Trump, so they had to create this elaborate hoax, this gigantic monstrosity of endless investigations, conjecture, innuendo, baseless claims, all from a dossier they purchased, all from information they obtained through non-public sources. And then weave that information, and it specifically says within the indictments for the VIPs, for specific individuals. Trump's direct political rivals teamed with government officials to set him up and frame him. There was no shred of evidence pointing to him actually being a national security obstacle. Now we have a lawsuit. And by the way, President Trump either wants a recusal, might want a recusal of the judge, and also within the Durham probe, latest update pertaining to the legal battle is that Sussman's attorneys don't want the jury to be asked whether they have ties to the Clinton campaign or the Democratic Party or the DNC. So that's yet another victory for Durham, because obviously you don't want jurors who are tied to a political party or directly to, I should say, the individuals within the political party that helped start all of this. Hit subscribe to this channel right now. The whole point of this segment is that these lawsuits are going to be bolstered by the Durham probe indictment. So the Durham probe is not going to indict anyone. U.S. attorneys, I was just speaking to an amazing attorney a little while back. U.S. attorneys don't initiate an indictment unless they are absolutely certain they'll get a conviction. In this case, the convictions directly pertain to setting up and framing Trump. Clinesmith lying to a FISA judge. Literally just lying up, fabricating information. Sussman being paid by Clinton and then meeting James Baker. And that'll be interesting what James Baker has to say, or if he's on the witness stand. It'll be interesting how many bureau officials are on the witness stand against Sussman, or if there are any. But you're going to have these three indicted people. So in addition to Clinton and Comey and Debbie Wasserman Schultz and Peter Strzok and Page and Andrew McCabe, you have three indicted people already. Imagine if you're indicted by the U.S. government and you're sued in a civil case by Trump. Hit subscribe to this channel right now. We're almost at 200. We're at right at 195. We're like 100 subs away. Word of mouth is the absolute best thing you could do if you enjoy this channel. Tell your friends about this channel, ladies and gentlemen. And if you want to support my work, my Patreon is below in the pinned comment. Also, the Stock Market Crash channel is below in the pinned comment. Hit subscribe there as well. You can read my article in the Federalist predicting this devastating economy that we have and the upcoming and impending stock market crash. We're going to have a stock market crash. I mean, everything from Bitcoin to equities, stocks are going to plummet. You can't have food shortages. You can't be warned of food shortages, runaway inflation. Like, inflation is going to continue to skyrocket. Not going to the 25 basis point increases are not going to touch inflation or prevent inflation from increasing. And they say, well, it's a global thing. Yeah, you had multinational organizations telling every Western country to tank their economies, to do this, do that, do this, do that. Of course it's a global thing. They all did the same counterproductive. They all implemented the same counterproductive, apoplectic, hysterical policies all at once. Yeah, it's a global thing. But what Biden did is focus on combating climate change immediately after oil and gas and fossil fuels and coal went through the roof in terms of demand. I mean, we can go on. Then he got sued by, 13 states and oil and gas associations. And then he says, well, it's not my fault. It's the oil and gas company's fault. It's their fault. That's why gas is through the roof. We can go on forever, but hit subscribe to this channel right now. The interesting thing is that the Durham probe indicted 3 people that are named within the civil lawsuit. They're almost certainly going to indict more people named within the civil lawsuit. The longer this goes on, the time frame between when this lawsuit was filed with 40 plus people and corporations and when the judge looks at the lawsuit. Let's say the judge throws it out. Okay. He's going to file again. Trump is not going to he's not going to just give up. He's going to ask for a change of venue or the judge to recuse him or herself. And so these civil lawsuits are never going to end with Trump. Imagine if the judge throws this out for a technicality. Danchenko and Sussman are actually indicted. Okay, then he files another lawsuit. You're already going to have 2 more convicted. So Clinesmith or plead guilty. So, yeah, they plead guilty, convicted. So Clinesmith already was convicted and pled guilty of fabricating evidence. If Sussman pleads guilty and Danchenko pleads guilty, you have the basis of every single civil case against these 40-plus people and entities. You already have the basis with Clinesmith, but it's early in the game. So, if you have Sussman pleading guilty to lying to Bureau officials because he was paid by Clinton and deceiving Bureau officials to just get them to investigate Clinton's direct political rival, and if you have Danchenko and I haven't even focused on his indictment. His indictment explains exactly how the Steele dossier not only was so deceptive and, just a completely fabricated, manufactured, absurd compilation of baseless claims that the government used, that media, that BuzzFeed News, I'm not sure if that's even going to be in existence anymore, BuzzFeed News and others just spread and tried to utilize as the next major, as a story that all Americans should know. See, that's what they do. That's what media does. They focus on stories that are baseless, that help Democrats, and then silence any debate and discussion. You saw what happened to the New York Post on Twitter. That was a legitimate story, then confirmed years later by the New York Times and Politico. But we couldn't hear about it. It was bad for Democrats. And so, whether or not if the judge throws this out, Trump will because I don't think the judge will, but let's say the judge does throw it out. Trump will then, if the judge throws this case out, Trump will, before then, either ask for a new judge because the judge was appointed by Bill Clinton, I believe. Not exactly sure. Let's just say he might ask for a new judge or a recusal and then a new judge or a new venue. But let's just say ultimately, I don't think it'll be, of course, this lawsuit is not frivolous. It's already being litigated by the United States government. But if it is thrown out, he'll come back again. He'll probably come back after two more key individuals are indicted. Once Danchenko and Sussman are indicted, and it really doesn't matter what the defense for these individuals do, they're going to be indicted. Convicted. Because they did lie to, with Sussman, he's battling government officials. And then with Danchenko, the whole Steele dossier was complete nonsense, and it was full of lies. They'll get convicted. Those convictions will serve as the basis for further lawsuits, even if this lawsuit is thrown out, and especially if this lawsuit continues. Give me your thoughts below. I'll be back in an hour. Hit subscribe.